Hello and welcome to News Desk with me, Kimini Nyamani Amano. This morning we'll get updates on a number of issues, including the West African swine fever. And then also we'll get an update on the demolition exercise currently ongoing at Ajay-Kojo, a suburb of Ashaiman. And then we'll talk about the security alerts brought out by the West African Network for Peace Building. The latest on that is the fact that government has rejected the security report warning. Now, if you're a traveler and you like to go on long distance journeys and you sit in some of these very luxurious buses, you may be watching a lot of movies on your way. What the film producers are saying, they're not happy with that. And they intend to arrest drivers who do not pay for their movies before showing them to you on the buses. Perhaps that is about to end. We'll find out exactly what they intend to do, how they intend to do it. Don't forget you can share your comments with me on our social media platforms. Joynews on TV, on Facebook, or my personal handle on Facebook, Kimini Amano. If you love to tweet, I do too. You can tweet me at Kimini, and also Joynews is on Twitter. You can do so at Joynews on TV. Let's get into our first issue of the morning. And well, government has rejected a security report warning of possible political instability due to worsening economic conditions and public discontent over corruption. Deputy Information Minister Felix Kwachiofusu says the report is not balanced and has the potential to cause unnecessary panic. He was reacting to a National Human Security Early Warning Report released by the West African Network for Peace on Tuesday. According to WANEP report, armed robbery accounted for about 38.33% of incidents recorded in the last quarter of 2013. The total number of deaths resulting from these attacks were 10, and 23 victims severely injured. The report also mentions factionalism in NPP towards the party's delegates' congress. Quoting from the report, it says these situations, coupled with public discontent over the government's efforts to manage corruption and address economic hardships, the emergence of violent attacks on some police stations and barracks by criminals, and increasing incidents of target killings might risk the present political and general stability in the country if not well managed. Now, one of said data gathered indicated that there is a rising form of criminality, targeted killings or direct attacks. I'm glad you stayed on. With me in the studio is Chuku Emeka Eze. He is with the West African Network for Peace. They came out with a report, and we'll talk about this security alert over the next few minutes. Thank you very much for joining us. I got the name right?
Yes,
I did. What are your thoughts on the government's reaction to your report?
I think first of all is to say that yesterday the executive director of WANEP, Mr. Emmanuel Bombande, actually issued a press release clarifying on this report. I think what apparently happened is that our colleagues from our national office in Ghana actually issued that report without the report going through the normal WANEP rigorous of peer review and analysis. And if you look at that report very well, the figures, the data, the figures in that report are scientifically generated, but I don't think the analysis reflected that data. Because if you look at the data, it talked about the percentages of armed attack. It talked about issues of targeted killing. Absolutely. But it also mentioned, which it did not reflect in the analysis, the amount of arrests and detentions that have been made. You know, if you do that analysis very well and you put it in perspective, what that means is that there is a state response to what is happening. And if such reports had that in perspective, what it does is that it actually lowers the risk factor that is associated with such incidents.
And so Emmanuel Bombande has come out with a statement on why we had the first report without a peer review.
Yes.
Yes. What exactly does the statement say?
No, of course, the statement is saying that because of the reaction of the government in its own way is very correct. Because there is a difference between the analysis and the data that has been generated. You know, the analysis is supposed to be a reflection of that data. You need to talk about the risk factors. You need to talk about the effort to address those risk factors. Then it will give you an end product, which is whether it is a high risk or a low risk. Another place to look at is what I consider not to be exactly correct, whether factions and cliques within political party means tension in the polity. I don't think so. The political parties is a means through which people are sent into power. What I suggest is that there is contestation. And where there is contestation, it presupposes that there are cliques and there are camps. Because in the first place, it gives you choices. Because you have a choice between A and B, already it means you're in cliques. You know, what we should call attention to is how we ensure that the stability we enjoy in the polity today is not disrupted by the atmosphere in the political parties.
So you do admit that the reports that came out earlier has caused some panic?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's not the intention of any report. If you follow the kind of report that 1F issues, that's not the intention. The intention is not to create panic. The intention is to call attention to areas where government and all the citizens have done well to ensure peace and stability, and also call attention to where we think we need to do more. That's what the report is supposed to do. So
what are we going to do about this now? Because I have the report.
Sure. The report has gone out to the public. So what we are arranging to do, and since yesterday we've been engaging the media, including yours, to clarify this. So what we intend to do is that we are going to review this report and make sure that the analysis is in tandem with the figures that we have raised. Because if you look at it, like I mentioned, look at the amount of targeted killing, look at the percentage, and then look at the percentage of detention and arrest. Detention and arrest is a reflection of what is happening to address the issues that have been raised by those targeted killings.
But one thing is clear, that the figures here are not wrong.
No. The figures are very correct, and they are verifiable.
So we can talk about the figures. How did we come about these figures?
We have indicators that we monitor on a regular basis. Each of our national early warning system have indicators they monitor. They record that on the basis of incidents as they occur. And it's so verifiable that you can actually point to where it has happened. You know, because for us, one death, a senseless death of one Ghanaian or any citizen or non-citizen is a call for concern. It doesn't matter the quantity or the quality of people that have died. However, we also put in perspective what are the efforts to address those issues, and that gives us the risk factor. That is not reflected in the report.
I see. So, over which period did you collect this data?
This is our review for 2013.
2013.
It's a review for 2013. So if you look at it again in terms of percentage, it's not like it's something that has just happened recently. It's a review of the year ended December 31, 2013.
But we do have crimes on the increase.
Sure. It happens. So long as the society begins to increase, there is, because of the stability that Ghana have enjoyed over years, there is influx of both non-citizens and also citizens from the rural areas to the urban areas. What that means is that there is competition for so much scarce resources that exist in these big cities. And it's not just about Ghana or Accra. It's about big cities in Africa. So what that brings in itself is also increase in crime. But you also need to look at what is the effort to address those issues. And then that will give you a risk factor. And then you can make your conclusion. Is this country or this state capital, for example, is it conducive? Is it peaceful? Is it stable? You can make those conclusions.
What were some of those attempts we made in dealing with the situation? Because I'm thinking, if we had crime on the increase, arrests on the increase, already we talk about how our police cells are congested and our prisons are also congested. And so we'd have to then put in resources into that. What is the assessment of 1F's assessment of the attempts we put in dealing with these issues?
You know, unfortunately, police work, for example, security work is also like our work. The crimes you prevent, you can't go to the public and say you have prevented those crimes. So there are certain things that the police, the security operatives have done to address those issues that, because it did not happen, you don't know. But the question also, what would have happened if nothing was done at all? So there are some programs of government that addresses youth restiveness, for example, youth unemployment, for example. These are contributory factors to the kind of peaceful nature we enjoy today. But of course, it does not also remove the fact that it is not 100%. It's not 100% everywhere. So there are crimes. And then when this crime eventually happens, what it means is that there are few we are unable to prevent. Then you also look at what is the effort to address it or mitigate it. And those are the ones that are made public.
But you gave some recommendations, or under prevailing situations, OneUp Ghana wishes to appeal to the homicide unit of the Ghana Police Service, National Security and Judiciary to speed up investigations and prosecutions on the recent murders in order to... We can't deal with this. We can deal with this report as far as the recommendations is concerned. Our only issue is with the fact that the analysis did not...
Sure.
It's not in tandem,
sure,
borrowing your words, with the figures.
It's also professional that when you feel you have gone beyond standard, that you take responsibility and find a way to correct that.
Absolutely. But the recommendations won't change, would they?
No. The recommendations are good. We are talking about how to increase the effort, how to maximize the potentials of the country.
Absolutely.
You know, so we are talking about, we are not saying that the homicide unit is not doing anything. We are saying there is need to speed up so that it will become a deterrence to other people who might want to engage in such.
One thing I want us to look at is how the homicide unit has dealt with some of these target killings this report actually speaks about. We had the lady from Stanbic Bank. We have the chief in the Bunahafo region. Recently, we had this immigration officer also in Mataheko. How we have dealt with these issues?
It's a judicial process. You also don't want to run this risk of being accused of impunity. So it's a judicial process. Judicial process may not be as fast as we wish it should be. You know, the reasons are investigations need to be carried out. You need to be sure that whoever you are committing to death or to punishment is the wrong person. It's said in the judicial balance that it's better to allow 20 people who are criminals to go scot-free than to kill one innocent person or to commit one innocent person. So it's a judicial process, you know. But the good thing is that something is being done to address that. There has been arrests that have been made. Investigations are going on. Judicial processes are going on. And because it's a process, we think it is in order.
For instance, in the case of the Stanbic Bank death, many thought that the police were too quick to publicize the suspect they had. Because from the beginning, the idea was that it wasn't just this person who had committed the crime, and haven't publicized the others. Sort of put an obstacle in the way of the investigation. Do we have the capacity to see some of these investigations to the end?
We can do some conjectures here. Security issues are very secretive because in nature it should be secretive. Now, if the police goes public to announce suspects, they are still tagged suspects. It might also be that they want to use that to deter another one from happening. I'm not a security official, but I'm trying to wear the cap of a security official. So if they don't make it public, it means it will help them with investigation. So they weigh the options. They are professionals.
I see. Let's look at the fact that the report also has said that this could tell on our stability as a nation. What's the relationship?
We feel that Ghana is stable. We feel that there is an atmosphere of peace that Ghana is enjoying. And that accounts for the number of people, both within and outside, that are coming into Ghana on a daily basis. But we also want we don't want a situation where we take for granted this peaceful atmosphere. Peace, as we always say in our institution, is like flower. The beauty of flower goes away when you stop taking care of it. So it's important that we continue to work and ensure that we continue to enjoy the atmosphere.
When will the full and proper report come out?
As soon as we finish the review, we're in the process of reviewing that. We'll circulate it again.
We can't speculate a time because this I'm sure has made a lot of rounds already.
Yes.
And admitting that it may have caused some sort of panic.
Yes, that's why we are following up, and that's why we are very happy to engage. We're engaging the media and the platform that you're giving us to clarify this, because we don't want any situation where the report that is generated from OneUp is not credible. We want to maintain that credibility, which has earned us the position we are enjoying today at the level of Economic Community of West African States.
And would have a more extensive chat when the report proper comes out.
You're probably the first to get it, I can assure you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much,
My pleasure.
Chuku, for joining us on News Desk. Chuku Meka is with the West African Network for Peace. Unfortunately, we were unable to raise government or the police over the telephone. We wanted to have this conversation all over again with them, but we were unable to do that. In the meantime, let's talk about swine fever. And over 500 pigs have been affected by the African swine fever disease in the Elembele district of the Western region. The outbreak has led to a ban on the transportation of pigs and pig products from the district. Let's take a look at this. The Western Regional Director of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Victor Okonai, who disclosed this, 3 communities, Etiabo, Bako and Anoche, in the Elembele district are worst affected, with over 512 affected pigs already identified in the Anoche community alone. African swine fever is a highly contagious disease of pigs caused by a virus which occurs in acute, subacute or chronic forms. The acute form causes majority of affected pigs to die. The symptoms of African swine fever includes vomiting, diarrhea and reddening or darkening of the skin. The outbreak of the disease has led to a ban on the transportation of pigs and pig products from the district. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture said all affected pigs will be slaughtered, with compensation expected to be paid to the owners. The Western Regional Director of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Victor Okonai, said residents in the district have already been sensitized on the disease, while effective monitoring is being done to avoid the spread of the disease to other communities.
You look at all the communities which are likely to be affected, and they slaughter all pigs in those communities, all pigs. Because it's a viral disease, and once it's a viral disease, it means that if you don't do that, the disease will spread. So we shall slaughter all of them. Now let me say that farmers are being advised not to hide any of their animals, because all animals have to be slaughtered, will be paid for sufficiently.
He, however, asked residents of the Western region not to panic, since the disease has been identified in only 3 districts.
We informed Accra for the necessary assistance. And then Saturday, a delegation from Accra Veterinary Services came down, and together we went to the communities to inspect. We realized that it's not even limited to Atani alone, but a few more communities.
Let's get the latest on this. So we'll go over to the telephone and talk to Joynews' Western Regional Correspondent, Benjamin Peters. Hello, Benjamin.
Hello, Kamini.
What's the latest on this?
Yeah, presently, as I speak to you, the slaughtering and burying of both the affected and already dead pigs is taking place in the 3 affected communities in the Elembele district, which includes Anochi, Baku, and Atwabu. And the little investigations I did on that indicate that about 581 pigs have been identified in the Anochi community alone. And out of the number, about 377 are already dead, while 388 affected pigs have also been identified at the Baku community, which is the other community, like you mentioned in the report. Out of the number, about 353 are also dead. So the total number of affected pigs is now about 969, with 20 pigs dying on a daily basis.
What is being done to contain the spread?
Yeah, there is now the ban on the transportation of pigs and other pig products from the community. Again, there has been a call for the limited number of people rushing to the place. even though it doesn't affect the human, but authorities have called on people not to rush to the place. And again, the animals will be killed, will be slaughtered, and they will be buried. Unfortunately, they haven't identified any vaccine for the affected animals. So right now, they are only applying the control measures, that is to destroy, to kill, and to disinfect the face of the affected animals.
I see. Let's take a look at the disease itself. What exactly is the swine fever?
Yeah, the swine fever is a little bit new to us over here in Ghana, especially. In the Western region, this is the first time such a thing has been identified. But the little check I did indicate that it has happened somewhere in the Volta region before. It is transmitted by a virus, and there are some symptoms that you can identify that an animal with. That includes the darkening of their skin, stillbirth, vomiting, and other same things. So it's something new to them, and no vaccine has been identified as I speak to you now. So, like I told you earlier on, they are now applying just the control measures.
I also understand that some compensation will be paid to rearers who would have to commit their livestock to slaughter.
Yeah, exactly. So this is just to entice the farmers to come out and give out the affected animal. You know, someone who express the fear of killing about 1,000 of pigs just like that. So the compensation is sort of to entice them.
So how much is involved in this?
They are yet to come out with an amount.
I see, but they have killed over 500 already.
Yeah, they are, but the affected animals will be counted. Then, like yesterday in the report, I told you a certain family in Anoche alone is having about close to about 1,000 pigs. So with them, for instance, they will be counted, and then the compensation will be paid to them. So
but it's unclear. Ongoing. It's unclear how much a pig would be compensated for.
Yeah.
I see. How about residents? How are residents reacting to this?
Somehow a bad news to residents. Like, they are not stable as to whether they should go ahead and eat the pork or the pork product, the pig product. So, like, authorities have now cautioned them not to, especially products from the trade communities identified in the Elembele communities, that those outside have been called upon that they can go ahead and consume their pig and pig products, but only those from the communities in the Elembele district have been bad. It's such a bad news for especially those who are into this pig consuming and other things. But I think they can do it in the meantime.
It's some sort of a pork scare where people can't even enjoy their usual pork any longer.
Yeah, something like that.
How long does the district health officials project that this will last?
They don't know. That is why they are now applying these control measures. This disease was just identified somewhere last week, and they called for a backup from Accra. So they came down and identified that this is the sort of disease that is happening to the pigs. So, unfortunately, there is no vaccine there for these affected pigs. So, they will just be applying the control measures. As I speak to you now, all the affected animals are being slaughtered currently. And, like, they are just projecting that it wouldn't be transferred to other districts nearby.
I see. Thank you very much, Benjamin. William Peters joined us from the Western region, where there seemed to be a pork scare, and persons have decided to stay away from pork because they do not have the diseases. The disease of the pork is of course scary, and they wouldn't want to enjoy it. But it's under control. The health directorate says it's under control. Now, Joynews' Matilda Omega is at Ajekojo, Sahara East, where demolition exercise is taking place. She joins us over the telephone for a quick update on this. Hello, Matilda.
Hello, Kemini.
Right. Where exactly are you and what's going on?
Well, I'm at Saha East in Tema, Adekojo, where over 200 homes have been displaced as a result of a demolition exercise carried out by the Tema Development Corporation yesterday. And in fact, the people they are in dilemma. They don't know what to do or where to go from here because they don't seem to get any answers from authorities here. They tell me nothing has been, there's been no notification, nothing. The people just came in yesterday and then started the demolition exercise. They are so angry at the authorities. As I speak now, there's a heavy military and police going on here. And the member of parliament is also in the area now, trying to calm the angry residents.
There's a lot of noise in your background, but we'll still try and get some information from you. Why is the demolition taking place?
Well, what I gathered from residents is that the CDC is saying that they are marking part of the area for an extension for Community 24. But the CDC told them that they were not part of that areas that were being affected. But yesterday, they were just caught off guard by surprise when the people just came in and started cooling down their structure.
How many structures are involved in this?
For now, we've told 50 homes, 50 structures. 50 structures have been cooled down. Some are completed. Some just told me they moved in just last weekend, and then this has happened to them. And most of them are just scared, not knowing what to do.
I see. So for those who lost their homes yesterday, how have they been holding up?
Well, Kemini, you have no idea what they are going through here is quite terrible.
I don't have an idea.
They almost linked the assemblyman who refused to turn up yesterday when they were calling him to come around to intercede for them. But they sacked him out. They sacked the assemblyman of the area. They sacked him because they think he refused to show up yesterday to support them.
So what exactly do they want now?
Well, what they are seeking for, they are telling me they want their land back because they legally acquired the land. They showed me some documents which CDC gave them permit to continue with this building. So what they want is their land back. They need answers.
I see. Thank you very much, Matilda. Matilda Wameka joined us from Ajekojo, Saha East, where she's been witnessing a demolition exercise. The TDC is earmarked a place for Community 24 extension. When we return, we'll talk to Joynews' Israeli, who's in the UK now and has been engaged in the mood after the death of BBC presenter Komla Dumor. I'll be right back. Don't go away. You're welcome back to News Desk. I was telling you earlier that Joynews' Israeli is in the UK and he's been engaging persons in the United Kingdom on the demise of Komla Dumor, BBC anchor. Hello, Israel.
Hi, Kemini.
Thanks for joining us on News Desk. Tell us what you've seen so far in the UK.
Well, it's been pretty early. I got in early this morning, so I haven't seen much of town. I checked into my hotel not too long ago. But thing is, right there at the airport, I got to meet a number of Ghanaians, some of them who were on the flight as well, and others who were at the airport, coming to meet people. And then they walked up to me. It was clear that, to them that I was here, and if I'm here, it must be in connection with Komla's passing. So speaking to them, they tell me how much of this is a loss to them. I mean, it's clear to me, right from my engagement with these people, that the people are really grieved by and saddened by the death of Komla Dumor, and they all want to share some experience they had or some encounter they had with him and how they saw him. And there was one chauffeur who brought me to my hotel, and he talked about the fact that the wife has been crying because she's one person who has been watching him on TV. They get to see Komla here in the morning, and we in Accra, we get to see him on Focus on Africa. In the rest of Africa, we get to see him in the evening at 5:30. But generally, there's this grief. People are grief-stricken by the passing of Komla.
Right. Over the next few days, you're going to be in the UK, and I'm sure you'll be giving us an update on subsequent bulletins. What should we expect you to bring to the broadcast?
All I'm going to tell you is expect exclusive coverage. I was on the same flight with three of Komla's confidants, close friends and confidants. There was there's his lawyer, Charles Joynews Jr., there's Herbert Mensah, and there's also Charles Mensah. The three of them were on the same flight. And even whilst we were coming, we found ourselves in the same cabin, and they were talking to me and sharing experiences about what it was like, what Komla was like. And at the airport, they told me, or they were saying, look, Komla should have been here. It would have been so much fun. It tells you how much they miss this guy. But they're going to be doing the arrangements to put everything else in place. They have to meet some people, and eventually we'll get to know when exactly we can get the body down to Accra.
Absolutely. We'll give you some time to put yourself together. Thank you very much, Israel. Israel Lai joined us from the UK, where he's been engaging some Ghanaians living in the UK on their encounters with BBC anchor Komla Dumor, who died last Saturday. We'll bring you exclusives, like you heard him say, on subsequent broadcasts on exactly what will be going on in the UK as far as this is concerned, and when sad to say the body of Komla Dumor will be in Accra. In the meantime, some of you have been sharing your thoughts with me on our social media platforms. There is the news that the BBC is setting up. Let me be clear on that. The BBC is establishing a foundation in Komla Dumor's memory, and some of you have been sharing your thoughts on that. Kweku Opari Anoba says, better than a fund to cater for his children. Kudos, BBC, you've shown maturity. Darlington Secret Stone says, that's a good idea, and I think the BBC must replace him with Kojo or Ben, because you guys are wonderful. Thanks, Joy FM, for bringing great minds into the system. God bless Ghana. Cynthia Nyame, who is still in shock, says, oh God, why? While Vivian Araba Williams says, it is a good thing. Minta Dignity says, he sure does deserve such a thing. Oswald Dal Entertainer is asking Multi TV 2 to establish one for him. Endless Love Jerry Afeku says, I think he deserves this honor. Thanks to the BBC for this offer. At top play, Martin Selom says, that's a great idea and a step in the right direction. Kudos BBC, but Multi should also urge their quota to serve as a legacy. Every year, Nathaniel, perfectly good idea. Even this is not enough. Establish more. We're definitely considering that. Emmanuel Romeo Techi says, that's very good. May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Rest in peace indeed. I agree with you, Emmanuel. Mubarak Ahmad says, it's good to hear that from the BBC. McDonald Badanaku says, oh, good to hear and good for Ghana. Those are some of your comments, and I'm grateful for them. And stay on, I'll be right back. Thanks very much for staying on. Let's stay with Komla Dumor for a while. And the Bunahafo Region branch of the Ghana Journalists Association has directed its members to wear red and black throughout this week as a sign of respect to our departed colleague Komla Dumor. The chairman of the association in the region, Emmanuel Mensah Abludu, describes the late Komla Dumor as an astute journalist.
Emmanuel Mensah Abludu and some other journalists in the Bunahafo region noted the sudden demise of the icon is a great loss to the media fraternity.
As the regional GJ, we decided to be in black as a way of showing respect to our fallen colleague. And we expect other people should also do the same. That is the only way. This profession in which we are doesn't pay much, though we are respected. Once it's gone, the only thing maybe they will just give you one line and say, oh, so and so of this media house is no more. But at least we'll take delight in that we've served society well.
Very astute journalist, of course, a very consummate one, and somebody who doesn't take or doesn't joke with his profession. I remember Komla Dumor as somebody who really raised the bar of journalism to a certain standard. You remember when he was in Ghana at Joy FM as a boss player in the morning, people tune in to Joy FM to listen to him because he always have topical issues to discuss on his show. Print media get even their banner headline stories from Komla Dumor.
I was so saddened when I heard the demise of our big brother, Komla Dumor, because we, the upcoming journalists, we look up to him. When we started journalism for back in 2001, thereabout, we used to listen to him on Joy FM, on his morning show, and then when he left to BBC, Focus on Africa, and most of his program, we listened to him, and we learned a whole lot of things from Komla Dumor.
Komla Dumor was a broadcast icon whom we, the young ones, were drawing inspiration from. But now that he's gone, we don't know who to look up to again. All the same, may his soul rest in perfect peace.
They advise journalists to live healthy lifestyles and ensure regular medical checkups.
We, the journalists, we have to have time to rest. We have to do a lot of exercise. We, the morning show, like me being a morning show host, I woke up around 2 to 3 a.m. When I wake up that time, I have to learn, I have to do a whole lot of research, go to work around 5 a.m. And then when I close morning show at 10, you have to go for some other assignment. We have to do a whole lot of things. So you go back to sleep around 10 p.m. So you just have about 4 hours or 5 hours to sleep. And I think it's not enough.
Indeed, may you rest in peace. I'm still yet to come to terms with it myself. But we hold a memorial service here at the Multimedia Group Limited here in Kokomlemle for him on Friday. We'll communicate the time with you so you can share in that service as well. It's a classical example of totally unbelievable but true. In the meantime, let's talk about some movie producers who are unhappy about the way some drivers and passengers aboard both long and short distance vehicles enjoy their movies without having to pay for it. So effective February 1, the Film Distributors and Producers Association of Ghana has issued a directive to stop the practice. The association says it is collaborating with the GPRTU to ensure drivers buy the rights to the movies before showing them to the public.
Commercial vehicles are now showing movies, affording passengers the opportunity to relax while on the journey. This, the movie distributors and producers say, is draining their finances since they do not pay right for commercially showing movies. The association says it will begin to prosecute drivers who disobey the directive by the 1st of February. Drivers at the VIP bus terminal and the Neoplan station are, however, beginning to count their losses. They said showing movies attract passengers.
Yeah, they attract customers, passengers, mobile for car. One moment, so your teams are not mapa, your drivers in the class, we are not.
TV, the woman, it's answer, can't the boy now check. Anything on the Panis, one normally know the German because it's a Bayama. And our passengers in Subu or no Chamwa or German TV no more to TV in Yajuma. It's a wrong for to manage your pa until Okanumaya.
Some passengers are not happy, contending that the movies is the only entertainment whilst on the journey.
I don't think it should be cancelled. I want to have fun. I'm having fun free of charge. I don't pay anything for it. You know, some of these things, when I see it here, I don't have to go and buy it outside. They are selling it to them. So they are selling it to them. It's business. It's a competition. So they have to find a way of making it, not to stop us from enjoying ourselves.
It's not good for them to burn it. When they burn it, it will probably draw the passengers back. It will bring the passengers to the car. When they watch it, they feel it. Some of the people don't have TV and those kind of video in their house. So when he's traveling like this and he watch it, it's encouraging him. Always he will be coming here to board a car here to his destination.
No, for that one, I don't think it's good because really it helps people a lot. In a way, especially when you are in a bus, it entertains you a lot because, you know, it's a long journey. So maybe watching this movie, it entertains me a lot. Yeah. So at the time that you realize you are at your destination. Yeah.
The president of Producers Association of Ghana, Asari Hackman, said the practice breaches the copyright law and said the association is ready to dialogue with the GPRTU and drivers who want to show movies in their vehicles.
Infringement law is different. When you buy something and you watch it without collecting money, you haven't infringed anybody's right. So if you go beyond home use for commercial purposes, then you need to seek authorization and get the right before you can venture into any commercial level. You see, the copyright law is there, and then what they are doing is against infringement of our rights. So the law will apply whatsoever sanction that need to be given based upon the gravity. What they need to do is to first express their desire for us to talk. I think we need to sit down and talk and judge and come to understanding.
He also cautioned operators of pubs and restaurants to desist from the act. Matilda Pamaga for Joynews.
Right, so if you're a huge fan of local Ghanaian movies on these luxurious buses, effective February 1, you may not be able to enjoy that anymore because the film distributors and producers are saying, we've had enough. We don't want you showing our movies without paying for them. You are infringing copyrights, and we want you to pay for our movies before we let you show them. But the question we've raised, questions we have raised are the facts that how would you ensure that your movies are not shown? And how much are these drivers supposed to pay for it? Will it translate into more lorry fares for a luxurious bus? Would passengers going for it? And some passengers actually tell us sometimes they don't get to watch the movie in full. So they just go out and then buy the CD because they like the movie on the bus. And so who's losing? Who's winning? Is it a loss? We'll find out from the president of the Film Distributors and Producers Association of Ghana, Asari Hackman. Hello, Asari.
Hello.
Thank you very much for your time on News Desk.
You're welcome.
So how far were discussions around this?
You said?
I'm asking, how far were discussions around this directive the Film Distributors and Producers Association hopes to issue? Effective February 1.
We have issued the directives, and then we are waiting for those concerned to come forward so that we can begin to talk and arrive at a conclusion.
How soon do we see this happening where they can't show your movies without having to pay for them?
We have given the deadline 1st February, which means that after 1st February, any vehicle which is using our movie in their possession will be arrested according to the law. So we have from now to the 1st of February, which is about, 9 days. So our doors are open. If the cooperative societies and then the union can come forward, we can sit down and begin to talk.
How do you hope to ensure that indeed these luxurious buses do not show your local movies?
We have put up a system that to us it will work for us, and we know that if they come and we're able to resolve issues, we will give them the right authorization by identifying those who are willing to go by our rules and regulations. Then we can move forward. We already put a system in place.
What is the system?
You see, we have Copyright Society of Ghana, which is ASOC, which is empowered by the state, by the law, to collect royalties on behalf of producers and or copyright owners, to be copyright owners. So we will sit down with them together with ASOC. Then we will come out with a modality and how things need to be done.
Have you figured out how much you'll be charging these drivers for showing your movies yet?
We haven't come up with a fixed charge yet, but there's a system how to calculate the movie per month and per year. So they will use the system when we meet with the ASOC board. Who will use the system and do the calculation and passing on to them.
Passengers we have spoken to say, look, sometimes we watch the movies, we like them, and we don't get to see the full movie, so we go out there and buy. Don't the film producers risk losing potential customers from doing this?
Yes, you see, the copyright law says clearly that any public performance with our works, you need to pay royalty. So what the vehicles are doing now is really making us not to, as it is, get the full returns of our investment. Because we invest in this business, and then at the end of the day, we need to recoup our investment and make some profit. And then imagine VIP buses from here to Kumasi. I think they have about 80 to 100 buses, and each bus takes average about 28 to 30 passengers. So imagine how much are we losing? If each bus is flying twice a day, times 7 times 30 times a year. How many customers are we losing from buying our movies? So we are losing a lot. They are saying that they are in fact advertising for us, but it's not that. We pay money at the TV stations and radio stations and produce and print posters and advertise our own film. So they are nowhere advertising for us.
Thank you very much indeed, Asari. Asari Hackman is the president of the Film Distributors and Producers Association of Ghana. We've been talking about their directive to stop drivers from showing their movies aboard their long-distance buses. Just before I go, let me just run this by you. Really important. The Africa Debate live from Davos will air on Joynews at 12:45 Ghana time. The Africa Debate will have the following presidents on it. There will be Nigeria's Goodluck Jonathan, Rwanda's Paul Kagame. There will be Ghana's John Dramani Mahama, Aliko Dangote, president of the Dangote Group. Join us. Make sure you make time at 12:45 p.m. as we hear the African story from these African leaders. Don't forget also that the Book of Condolence is still open for Komla Dumor here at our premise in Kokomlimling. Feel free to come through and sign it. And thank you very much for your messages on our social media platforms. Thank you very much also for staying through the program. I'm totally grateful for that. Stay on and enjoy the rest of our program. CNBC's Power Lunch is next. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amana. Goodbye for now.